Hey guys, it's me, Saren, back with another video. It's Monday, so happy Monday. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend, and hopefully you guys are all ready for a brand new week. This video is one that I've wanted to make for a while, even though, as I'm sure you guys could tell by my title, this one is kind of gonna revolve around the 2015 Grammy nominations. I've wanted to make this video for at least a month, maybe two, ever since I read this really good article, which of course now I cannot find anywhere, about subgenres. It was super interesting stuff. I'm really going to try hard to find it, but I can't unfortunately remember the name of the artist that was being interviewed, so it's making it really hard for me to track it down. But this artist was a black artist. They were talking about subgenres and the way that subgenres right now are being used to keep black musicians and black artists out of the mainstream and kind of keep them from crossing over into mainstream success. I really want to say the artist was Chrisette Michele, but if it wasn't her, I don't want to put words in her mouth. But basically what the artist was saying was that subgenres and subcategories are kind of being created right now to pigeonhole black musicians and black artists into these certain categories so they can't cross over into mainstream success. So for example, instead of labeling an up-and-coming artist as R&B, they might label an up-and-coming artist as neo soul or, urban R&B, or something like that. These kind of subgenres and subcategories that are used to denote blackness. And that way, you can kind of put the Ariana Grandes and the Meghan Trainors and the Jessie J's and the Sam Smiths. You can put them in the R&B categories or in the pop categories, and you can effectively whitewash the categories and keep black artists out. And what does this sound like? Racism. So basically, the way this relates to the Grammys, the 2015 Grammy Awards are coming up, and a lot of people have been really, unhappy and displeased with the nominations. Igloo Australia, I believe, got 4 or 5 nominations, and a lot of people have an issue with the fact that I want to say 2 of her Grammy nominations are in the rap categories, and 2 of them are in the pop categories. So a lot of people are saying, well, how is that fair? She's actually the first rapper ever to be allowed into multiple categories like that. The majority of the other rappers that have been nominated for the past, I want to say 20 years, the first one I want to say was in 94. I want to say the first rap Grammy was given in 94. So for the past 20 years, you really haven't seen any type of crossover, even when you have artists with a huge crossover appeal, like, for example, Nicki Minaj or Wiz Khalifa. They've been strictly put in the rap category. But now along comes Igloo Australia, and she gets 2 rap nods, and she gets 2 pop nods. A lot of people feel like, well, her rap nominations could have gone to someone maybe a little bit more deserving, like YG, who had a critically acclaimed debut rap album come out this year that got no nominations, 0 nominations. Maybe we should, put her in one category or in the other. If she's pop, she's pop. If she's rap, she's rap. Or a lot of people feel like if we're going to be doing this genre bending, that needs to be applicable for, more artists. Because really, when you're black, you kind of get pigeonholed into one category. Prime example, Beyonce. Beyonce came out with probably the #1 most critically acclaimed album of 2013 with her self-titled 5th album, Beyonce, and yet she is not nominated for, any of the big, nominations. She's not nominated for Record of the Year, Single of the Year. She might possibly be nominated for Album of the Year, but if she is, that was just recently announced. When the Grammy nominations were originally announced, she was only nominated for a handful of things, one of which was Best Urban Contemporary Album. And Urban Contemporary is a fairly recent genre. It's a fairly recent category. It was only introduced in 2013, and from the minute they introduced it, a lot of people have been saying, hey, this is a racist subcategory. Because for one, what is urban? What is urban contemporary? what type of music is that? Urban contemporary, what is that? That could be anything. How is that describing a type of music? And every year since the category has been introduced, that's kind of where they've been dumping all the black artists instead of letting the black artists into the major categories. When Rihanna's Unapologetic came out in 2012, which was again critically acclaimed album, did really well, her best album so far, her very first album to go #1 on the Billboard charts, she was nominated for and won Best Urban Contemporary Album of the Year, but a lot of people felt like, well, so this kept her out of the pop category, this kept her out of the R&B category. She wasn't nominated, for any of the big categories because they kind of threw her into this urban category. Frank Ocean has won some awards in the urban category, and now we see Beyonce, who's arguably the biggest, and if not the biggest, one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, not get any pop nominations and not get nominated for any type of record of the year. We see her get put in this urban contemporary space. However, 2 of her singles were nominated for R&B. Best R&B single as well as Best R&B performance for her live performance of Drunk in Love with her husband Jay-Z. So a lot of people are saying, well, what is this? How can she have, these 2 smaller R&B nominations but not be nominated for Best R&B Album, which will be televised? How are all of the nominees, in the R&B category, how is it possible that they don't include Beyonce? How is she nominated in this urban contemporary? She's nominated with like 5 other black artists. So a lot of people have an issue with this whitewashing of genres, this creation of these subgenres to kind of push black people into a space where white people think that we belong, and also with the out-of-touch nature of the Grammy committee. I think it's called committee. I want to say it's called committee, the voter committee. I actually read a really great article that I am going to link where someone that's on the committee, he says that he's, at the end of the piece, he says, after writing this piece, I'm probably not going to be on it anymore. But someone in the committee is talking about how out of touch the committee is. He says, basically, they give you this pile of albums. They tell you to go through the albums. The only criteria is that 51% of the album, so of course, a majority, has to fall into that genre. So, Katy Perry could put out a rap album by those, criteria. If the people listening to it feel like 51% of it is rap, they could throw her in the rap category if they want to. And a lot of the times with the more obscure, categories like metal or, classical music or dance music, or as we see, hip hop and rap, you have an older, majority white, majority male voter block that they don't know. They've never heard of YG. They've never heard of DJ Quick. They've never heard of DJ Mustard even. A lot of people were, surprised that he didn't get a nomination for Producer of the Year when his songs literally came on every second of every day. So you have this primarily older, white, male voter block that doesn't understand subgenres and in particular does not understand, the hip-hop and rap genre or the R&B genres or the pop genres as they relate to black people. So they create this fake subgenre, urban contemporary album, and they kind of just throw all the black artists in there like, oh, and we can just pick, out of that. A lot of people have also been saying that, this year has been, that last year was shitty, but that this year, 2014, 2015 is even worse. And I have some numbers here because there have been a few articles written about these nominees. Every Best New Artist nominee this year is white. Every single one. Every Record of the Year and Song of the Year nominee is white. So according to the Grammys, black artists don't exist. And the black artists that do exist, they feel are putting out mediocre work, if you go by what the Grammys are saying. That the best music, the best records of the year, the best songs of the year, the best new artists are all white. A lot of people have been even saying like, well, where the hell is Twigs, right? She didn't get nominated for anything, not a single thing. And again, she had one of the most critically acclaimed, debuts come out this year. So people are saying, what does this mean? Basically what it means is, again, kind of like my last video, this is casual racism. This is everyday racism. These are microaggressions. These are people telling you, as a black person and as a black artist, where you belong. Where do you belong? You belong in an urban category for urban music. Urban is another, racialized word, trigger word. I've made videos about code words and racialized language before. Urban, thug, ghetto, things like that. These are basically microaggressions meant to show us where we belong. And in the eyes of the old, white, male, privileged Grammy voters, we don't belong at their award ceremony. We don't belong at their award show. We don't belong on their televisions. Even though all these artists that are being nominated, Sam Smith, Igloo Australia, Ariana Grande, Katy Perry, have all been heavily, heavily, heavily influenced by black people and by black music. It's the typical, slap some white hair on it, call it something else, white is right. They come in, they kind of take over, they take it from us, and they get given all these awards. Just like last year when Macklemore swept the Grammys and Kendrick Lamar didn't win anything despite being nominated for 7 rap Grammys. He didn't win anything. Even Macklemore felt some type of way about it. He apologized saying, "I robbed you." Why? Because the primarily white male older voters saw someone that looked like them, that sounded like them, that made music for them, and, voted on that. They're voting on these big names, these recognizable names, and they're voting on people that, look like them and make them feel comfortable. So I'm really annoyed about this Beyonce thing because urban contemporary is bullshit. Neo soul is bullshit. All these fucking subgenres and subcategories where they can just say, oh, put the blacks there, put the blacks in there, and we're gonna just go ahead and whitewash R&B. Black people aren't allowed in R&B anymore, and they're trying to do the same thing with rap, basically. Keep the up and coming rap artists that are really making good high quality music, keep them from getting any type of crossover appeal, because the Grammys are watched by millions and millions of people. That can be a career making performance or a career making award just because of the sheer amount of exposure that you can get from being on that show. And yet they don't allow black people really on the show. They don't nominate us for the awards, they don't vote for us when we are nominated, and then they create these bullshit subcategories that don't really mean anything and throw us in there. Urban contemporary isn't even televised. Why is Beyonce not nominated for, record of the year? Beyonce, who white people claim they love so much, It's, again, casual racism and microaggressions and, subtle ways that racism affects us and affects our lives and, affects our ability to do what we want and to do what we love. If I wanted to be, at this point in time in 2014, if I wanted to be a musician or an actress, I would just be like, fuck it, I'm not going to be able to fucking win any awards or get on any shows anyway because I'm black. Because the racism is, still alive and well in 2014. They just gonna not give me shit anyway, so I might as well just fucking go get a regular ass office job, and it sucks and it's not fair, but people love to say, oh, we're past race and post-racial this and post-racial that, but it's like things are worse than ever. So again, this was something that's been on my mind for a while. I'm gonna really try and find this article. If I can't find it, I guess you'll know because there won't be a link for it in the descriptor, but I'm really gonna try. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Quick little Monday video. I'm not sure when I'll see you guys again because this week is going to be really busy for me. Hopefully I'll be able to make another video before the week is up, but if not, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Food for thought as always. I will be including some links. Like I said, there's tons of think pieces going around because people are saying whoa, the Grammys are super white this year. Beyonce put out an album and she's not nominated for any of the big awards. All the big awards are all white, even though right now, black artists are pretty much doing it as far as, music is concerned, and they're not being recognized. How is that fair? Think about it. See you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed this one. Peace.